Welcome back, everybody. What if I was going to tell you that the job market today is actually the worst it's ever been? And the fact that you can only apply online just adds to that, because the competition you have out there is beyond just fierce. It is near mathematically impossible for people to just apply for a job, be seen, and be hired. This is leading to millions of prospective job candidates who are just unable to find a job for 4 months, 6 months, up to a year. Who knows at this point if all the people who are getting laid off just a couple months ago are even going to be able to get a job anytime soon. It's crazy.
I got laid off in December and it's June now, so I'm obviously not doing a good job at finding a new job. Genuinely, every time I apply for any job, it feels like I'm just buying a lottery ticket. Like, it feels more likely to win the lottery right now than to get a job. And I think that says a lot about the systems that we're using for job applications. I know there was a certain time where it would have been really helpful to use like LinkedIn or Indeed or these other websites, but they become so overrun with fake jobs, with fake applicants, with fake employers. It's just an absolute crap show there, and it makes me not even want to apply anymore. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm wasting my time sitting on these websites and applying for things. A lot of you are going to say, oh, you have to know someone at a company, like reach out to them, or just go in person. Oh, go to the actual website for the company and apply there. Trust me, I've literally done it all. At this point, I'm just at a loss, and I'm kind of like, do I even keep applying? Because I feel like I'm giving a little bit of my soul away every single time I apply and hear absolutely nothing back. We need new systems immediately.
She's absolutely right. It is almost like buying a lottery ticket now. See, a lot of people don't understand that ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn at one point were a great resource, made things so much simpler. But if you actually look at the numbers now, for each job posting on just the average employment sites out there, you're going to get 200 to 300 applicants per job listing. That means that your probability of getting one of those jobs just roughly is between 0.5% and 0.3%. That is terrible. And it gets even worse. We're talking about LinkedIn, which is the most popular corporate business employment resume website out there, really. Any job posting that goes on there gets between 300 and 1,000 job applicants. That means in popular fields, and especially in entry-level positions, the chances of actually landing one of those jobs can be as low as 1/100%. So yeah, it is like buying a lottery ticket at this point, and most people are just unable to find these jobs. Like we said, we've seen layoffs happen throughout the beginning of this year in record rates, between liquidation of federal employees and all the corporations out there restructuring and getting rid of these jobs wholesale, giving them to AI. They're not coming back. That means all these applicants that are out there right now are fighting over these positions. So if you don't have an absolutely stellar, mind-blowing resume with years and years and years of experience, probably management experience, good luck getting any of these jobs, especially entry-level jobs. If you're just from college and you're hitting the market right now with the amount of experienced applicants there are out there, like I said, 1/100%, that's your chance of actually getting the job that you're applying for. And you can say, yeah, the traditional way of just going out there, going into a place and trying to get a job. Like, this works in sales, right? You want to get a job at a car dealership? Yeah, that's the way you do it. You don't apply online. You walk in and you sell yourself to them. But for most people, right, they're going to use these sites because it's the only resource we have now. Because that's the world that we've created. We've digitized the job marketplace. And as a former recruiter, I can tell you that, the amount of applicants that you get, you can't contact them all in one day. And at some point, you just do a little triage. If there's any blemish on those records, you're pretty much just going to be shoved off. And that may sound harsh, yeah, but the thing is, there's just a glut of applicants out there. So honestly, the market is just heavily in favor of employers right now. And don't even get me started on negotiating wages, because that's pretty much out the window at this point. You have to be as agreeable as possible if you even get an interview. But a lot of these companies now, because they've restructured and they're getting 1,000 applicants per job listing, the rounds of interviews you have to do can take months to actually get one of these jobs. But like I said before, this was going to hit really hard this summer season, especially because you have kids that are going home from college, people who are looking for internships, people who just graduated who are just hitting the job market. That on top of all the people who are being laid off and all the cuts to actual jobs because of restructuring, What are we going to do? Of course, this summer was going to be a bloodbath for joblessness and unemployment. And the numbers are really starting to pan out on that. We saw the economy just had a contraction in the first quarter. And honestly, the first quarter of this year felt pretty decent. So with prices going up, the job market cooling down, the economy cooling down, lack of investment happening in America right now, it spells really bad news if you're living in America and you're trying to get a job. I mean, maybe this is one of those times where you lean on your rich parents, if you have those, you go travel abroad for a couple years, and wait for this whole thing to settle if it does, because right now trying to get in and trying to get a job and start your life, it seems impossible for a lot of people. And even experienced people are finding themselves in the position where they're losing their jobs, no matter what sector of the job market we're talking about, really.
So, I found myself unemployed for the first time in my entire life. I've never been fired. I was let go on Thursday. The dealership and I had a difference of opinions on the culture and what we were trying to accomplish, and they thought my ideas and the fact that I wanted to be progressive and productive, was overstepping, or maybe I flew too close to the sun, in a sense. And yeah, we parted ways. So I am now in the job market. I have a decade of experience. I might stay in the car business more than likely. Just find a different role, different dealership, that kind of thing. But yeah, any advice would help. So let me know what you got. I think it would be very helpful to get advice from other people who may be in my position. And I'm trying not to let it affect my mental health too much, and trying to stay productive and positive and hopeful. And I know that I'm an asset, and I'm going to show them that I'm exactly who I think I am. So that's where I'm at. So yeah, this is the first time I'm speaking on it in public, truthfully. Yeah. So yeah, any advice helps.
See, this is one of the problems when they start seeing you as expendable, because you are expendable, because there's so many people who are willing to just take your job who aren't going to question anything. You can talk about being progressive. You can come to your employer, your boss, with the best ideas, things that are going to make them more money, things that are going to make them more sales. But at the same time, if they just think you're annoying, or they think you're upset in the apple cart, they're just going to dump you off, get rid of you, and replace you with somebody who will not say anything. It's the way that the world works right now, and employees really just kind of have to sit back. And I honestly think that this spells a real negative future for employment in general, because if people are so disposable that they can't even voice their opinion, they can't even make a suggestion, or they can just be fired. Now, how does that not disempower the individual themselves? Because I honestly believe that this is a slippery slope for cutting away workers' rights as well. And unions have already taken a massive hit, and with all the anti-union laws out there, it puts workers in a position where they can't speak up if things are dangerous even. Like if you have a blue-collar job, if you have a job where safety regulations are really important, right? You could just lose it and they get rid of you, especially if you're not unionized. I think we really need a comeback when it comes to unions again. I think they need to start becoming popular again, because honestly, it's the way to protect the worker from the employer, from the corporation. I know it's popular in the trades, and it's a great thing because it, like I said, it maintains safety regulations. It makes sure that people are, being treated fairly and being treated right, make sure that people are being paid well. But why not expand that further? Why not expand that into the corporate world? Why not have more support for that in a time right now when a renaissance of unionization really seems to be needed? Because we're all getting paid less. Our jobs are all being cut away from us. And like I said, even if you have 10 years of experience and you're just a real asset to whatever company that you're working for, if you raise a concern, if you make a suggestion, if you give an idea, you can just lose your job. So if you can even get a job at this point, the job security just isn't there. So yeah, of course, people have just kind of become really disenchanted with the job market and work culture in general. And that's if you can get a job, because somebody like this with 10 years experience, if he just loses his job, now he has to get into this job market that's so competitive that he may not be able to work for 6 to 7, 8 months, just like everyone else right now. So no, that's why I say, if you have 0.01% chance of getting a job that you apply for online, and you can't actually go in and apply for jobs in person and be taken seriously, yes, I would have to argue that this might be the worst job market that we've ever had in America. Full stop. And personally, my job takes so many hours, and with the newborn, I kind of want to leave that one and get a job where there's less hours, where it's less stress, so I can come home and actually be a father and be a husband, because that's so much more important than a job. But at the same time, I know if I leave my job now, what's the chances of me getting a decent job again? People are having a hard time getting jobs at fast food. How's that say for someone like me who's like a white collar sales guy? I mean, if you have a job right now, don't quit it. Kind of hold on to it, either until things cool down or the world starts to make sense again. Because right now, it's bad. This is the worst job market that we've experienced, I think, in living history. Like I said, tell me what you think. Like and subscribe. Thinking about becoming a member. Check out Large Man Health for our weight loss journey, because I'm tired of being a big boy. And other than that, hey, hope you guys have a good one. Take care.